Welcome to the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. My name is Catherine Marion, and I am a trainer and manager at the Freeform Fitness Wellington location, and I will be your host as we get to know another member of our fabulous team. Here we share the stories of our personal trainers because at the heart of every fitness business is a passionate individual who cares about changing lives and helping others realize their full health potential. This podcast is a production of Freeform Fitness, a boutique-style personal training studio with 6 locations across Ottawa, Canada. Here we hire the very best personal trainers. They are ambitious, hardworking team players who know how to get their clients results. Our trainers provide expert personal training in studio and online, and every program is tailored to the individual needs of the client. If you want to learn more about Freeform Fitness, be sure to visit us at freeformfitness.ca. Today, for our 7th episode, we talk to Lili Potvin. She is a personal trainer at our Canada location. She's also a student at the University of Ottawa studying in human kinetics, which of course is very valuable to all of her clients. And she is also a first-time pet owner. Welcome to today's edition of Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. How are you doing, Lili?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to find out about this new pet thing. So many people are getting pets this year, and for you, it's the first time, isn't it?
Yes, I've never had a pet before. Maybe a fish, but not this type of pet. But yes, I'm very excited.
So tell me what you did. What did you get? Like a dog that's going to be little or a big dog?
Yeah, so I got a puppy that is going to be it's a large breed, that's they're saying, but so it's a Labrador mixed with German Shepherd.
Oh, wow, that is going to be beautiful. Okay, so like brown in color?
He's black and white. Okay. He has he's pretty much fully black and has a little white paws.
Okay, and what did you call him?
Stark. We called him Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man. Yeah, can you tell I've never watched that movie? I'm still lame. Well, congratulations. I hope it's going well. This whole new, it's a challenge.
Oh yes. But it's a fun one. Everybody says it's worth it. So
yes. Well, there you go. In time, you're going to be one of those doggy mommies. I hear about it all the time. I love it. All right. So let's talk about personal training because that's, really what everybody wants to hear about as well. I understand that you were, before all of this began, you were a competitive athlete. Talk to us a little bit about that. What sports did you compete in mainly?
So mainly if we talk about competition, the competitive aspect, I started competitive hockey. That was my main sport. I also did about 2-3 years of competitive soccer, and then just other sports for fun, more on the non-competitive house league, maybe you'd call it. I'm not sure.
So you've always been a fan of sport and activity. You've always been moving.
Yes, definitely. Love it.
And how hard do you think those things were on your body, right? When you think hockey, I mean, we can all imagine what happens in a hockey game. Same thing with soccer. If you just have to watch one match to see that these are difficult sports. How did they affect you personally, your body especially?
Definitely for hockey, I would say my first injury was in soccer. It was kind of those ankle sprains. Physically, all the other it was still good. It wasn't a bad on any other aspect. It was mostly the ankles. It did good for my cardio, aerobic training, and for soccer it was pretty good. It's hockey that I've seen different changes, bad and good. Yeah. A lot of things were, as a young athlete, we kind of concentrate less a little bit as with the strength training aspect, and we just play the sport, which is, of course, you're young, you don't necessarily want to just lift weights. Mm-hmm. But it definitely created a lot of imbalance, and I hear this with a lot of other health professionals with the core aspect, because we don't train the core as much. And when you get older, female hips and all, we get all kinds of, there's always something going on around that, unfortunately. But for the other aspects, good aspect, definitely kept me in good health. I felt always energized. I always wanted to move. So it was like that mental aspect was good. And then of course I was strong, mostly lower body wise,
Mhm.
but it made a lot of little things easier to do. And I think without sports, I think I would have gone a lot on a different
Different path.
path. Yeah, exactly.
So how did you go from, being a student, a young person, then, a hockey player, soccer player, to wanting you yourself to become a personal trainer?
So it all started when I got injured in soccer and I couldn't make my hockey tryouts for a higher level. So I didn't get on the team. So, and then I went to see another, like a physiotherapist, and we were doing, no, sorry, I'm gonna like kind of restart that. All right. So, yeah, so it all started when I got one of my first injuries, my ankle injury, as ankle sprain. And I was going to see a physio and they were talking about it's going to be about like another 4 or 5 weeks without going on the ice, which is a lot when you're young. And that's like,
Yes.
that's a lot of games and practices you miss. Anyways, but then I was lucky enough that one of my coéquipier,
A teammate?
teammate, my teammate, her father was actually the sense trainer, so like athletic therapist.
Really cool.
Yeah, so he actually told me, he's like, no, get back on the ice. We'll work together. I didn't do any contact or anything, and he made me do drills and all kinds of stuff to strengthen up my ankle. So I was able to get back into play way faster than expected, which just got me into that whole aspect of like, well, I want to help other people get back into what they love as fast as they can, as safely as they can as well. Just because I know it's possible. Your human bodies are insane. Like they can do insane amounts as long as you do it right and safe. That's where I started wanting to become a personal trainer, and that's where I started my like journey of getting to become a personal
So
trainer.
that's, it's interesting that at the time this person was saying, no, we're not going to stop everything. We're going to do some activity, but at the same time, we're going to do some rehabilitation at the same time.
Exactly.
Combine the two, didn't you?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we did. It was great.
Beautiful. And in the end, did the back pain go away?
It was the ankle. Sorry.
Oh, the ankle. For some reason, I thought it was back pain. Okay.
I think I might have talked about back pain. Maybe that's why. But no, yeah, I was
You were doing some serious contact sport between hockey and soccer. I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
if everything hurt at one point or another. All right. So now you know you want to be a personal trainer. So what are the steps that you take? You're like, okay, this is what I need to do. What are the steps that you take to make it happen?
So I can go. I'll just go into details and then we can figure that out. So I went to. That would happen more in like 10th, 11th grade. So in 11th grade at school, we were able to do a co-op. So I decided to do a co-op at a personal training gym. Nice. Where I got my, at a personal training gym. And I just kind of sat there, looked at what was happening and saw a bunch of athletes, different types of athletes. Even they were doing also just a one-on-one training. And it got me really interested in how much they do and how much that affects their sports, how much like performance wise they get better. And then it also affects their day-to-day life, like, and the socialization part too. So I started loving that. And then we're talking about my whole like journey to become a personal.
So you went from that. So you did some co-op stuff. So you started in grade 11, but obviously you can't have a job in grade 11 training people. So what are the next steps that you were able to take to get you to where you are today?
Yeah. Okay. So I went after high school. I wanted to go to Algonquin, take the fitness and health promotion program, because that's kind of that course that you take to become a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. You can't take that one to become a personal trainer. Little things, barriers happen. People said not to go into personal training for some reasons. And then the fact that Algonquin was an English school, but we were like, well, why don't you go to a French school? So I went to another college, La Cité, for 2 years. wasn't the greatest idea for me. I shouldn't have, but I mean, I don't regret it because everything happens for a reason, right? So, and then after I went to Algonquin, did 2 years there. I graduated fitness and health promotion, got my CSEP certification after that. And that is how I became a trainer.
And now you're still studying because now you're at Ottawa U. So really you are on a learning curve. You're really interested in the human body.
Yes. Yes, I am. Oh yeah, it's great. I can't decide which path in the human body I want, rehab or just continue training or anything like performance wise.
That's really beautiful. So how do you combine that then? So you've got a great experience in sport with your, hockey, soccer, and the other sports that you played. You've got the knowledge that you've done, with 2 college courses, and then what's happening at Ottawa U. How do you combine all of that when you're training your own clients at the Canada location?
Yeah. So if I talk about college perspective, so my first ever year of college, I did assistant physio and occupational therapy. So I take a lot of that rehab aspect, especially when people come to me with lower back pain, or they told me that they've sprained their ankle, or got something with their knee injuries and all that, or even shoulder pain. I take a lot of what I learned in that rehab aspect and bring it in to the gym here, but I also take the personal training part of Algonquin and the socialization and the putting programs together. And that's what I bring to the Canada. It's been huge. I've seen a lot. You don't see it in school how much it can help compared to when you're outside of school. Just and it's the smallest details that you think won't be important that is important. So yeah, I definitely bring that. And then university right now, the biggest thing that I found help was the physiology aspect of some of the courses. So how the body inside works compared to just the anatomy, that everything is connected. So it's just putting everything together. And that's what I've been trying to do. It's still a process, but that's what my goal, what I'm doing.
I think a lot of times people think personal training that when they come in to see us, they already have to have knowledge or they have to be perfect. Like, everything needs to work. And, I always tell people, oh my goodness, so much of what we do is rehabilitating or, trying to fix, I use that word loosely, to make things move better. Right. So people that come to see us, they don't have to have sort of no issues, if you will, with their muscles or with their bodies or with their joints. Right.
Right. Exactly. I definitely agree with that 100%.
And so with your knowledge, you're able to sort of try to get them, and oftentimes we work with the client, but also with their doctors or the physiotherapists, and we can combine all of those things together. Right.
No. Yeah, for sure. I definitely have a couple clients that I've contacted their physios to make sure that we're on the same page with stuff. And I try to tell people that even though if their lower back, let's say the biggest one is their lower back. So if their lower back is hurting that day, and they can move and walk and it's just stiff, so they don't really want to work out, I still try and say like, well, let's come in, let's stretch it out, let's do something to help it out your lower back, because that's the whole point of coming to the gym, is just to keep moving, to make sure we can help you out instead of staying sitting down and then maybe make it worse. Compared to here, technically you tell us, we will help you with that.
Beautiful. So when you go back to everything that you've learned, whether it's in your classes or training with people, what are some of the biggest things that you've learned along the way?
So yes, one of the things that I think the biggest thing I learned is that through my experience of becoming a personal trainer, and also just through people coming into the gym and how they react, is just trust yourself. Nobody really knows what is best for you than you. Of course, there's some things it's great to take advice, but at the end of the day, you know what you want, you know what will work for you. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned, that for the example of, I should have went to Algonquin the first thing, because I think I could have done more if I would have went there, even though everybody was looking out for me, which is amazing. It's more the fact that it's like, at the end of the day, I knew what I wanted. I knew what was good for me. And I should have listened to myself. Same thing whenever you're doing an exercise here, we're there to help you, but just trust yourself that you can do the exercise that we're telling you that you can do.
Beautiful. Don't give up on yourself is almost what you're saying. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Great. So what motivates you then to want to stay up to date? So what's motivating you to want to continue taking some more classes and to learn some more?
Motivation wise, it's also becoming, as well as a personal trainer, a better personal trainer, is also become a physio and concentrating on that rehab aspect, because I think it's very important that I think that having that physio under my belt of helping other people fix their their issues.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And then being able to be a personal trainer and being like, okay, well, I want to prevent your injuries before you have to come see the physio, compared to waiting until coming to see the physio, and then you're hurt and then you have to kind of restart, if that makes sense. Yeah. Kind of like.
And that's in your bio, because when before we had this interview today, this podcast, I looked up your bio, and mobility is really important to you. You really want your clients, their mobility to be the best that they can be. Why is that so important?
Because it's part of life. Like all of our day-to-day activities are what we struggle with the most when we start to get older, because we don't have the strength of, let's say, just getting up from the ground. So if you don't have that strength to come up from the ground, it makes it like, if anything happens, you don't have something to hold on to lift you up. It makes like life a lot harder. And the mobility aspect is when you want to be able to wake up in the morning feeling like you can do everything today. You don't have to be worrying like, oh, if I go to the grocery store, can I get out of my car, get the grocery bag out of my car? And I find that mobility, strength, like flexibility all come together at the end of the day. Because even though you can be very strong, if you don't have that flexibility or mobility, good luck trying to pick something off the ground. If you don't practice that mobility aspect.
So does that mean that you're pretty much able to help any citizen? So whether it's, a budding athlete or a full-fledged athlete, or, a senior citizen who's, trying very hard to maintain their mobility, do you feel that you can help, all of these people?
I definitely think I could help all of these people, but there's definitely, I would recommend, maybe, let's say you're high performance, there's another trainer here at the Canada location that's really good with the high performance. So I would be like, we can work together, but I'll work with him as well. So, and like make a
Like
work together.
You're creating a team. You bring up a really good point, because I too work at a different location, but at the Wellington gym, and people often forget, or they don't realize that it really is a team effort. So if someone comes to see me and they have something about them that another one of the trainers at my gym can do even better, we can work together to help this person to get where they want to be.
Exactly. Yeah. And I find that it's amazing to see that, like, when you come to any of the studio, like here, all the trainers all have different, are all good at something. And like, they're all good, but better. Let's say they have their specialization, like the high performance, and then somebody else is really good at boxing here. And I like the rehab aspect. So we all fit together. If their client wants to help a little bit more help on that mobility rehab aspect, they can always come to me and ask me that, or I can go to them, be like, they want to work on their high jump. And it's like, okay, well, I'll ask for advice, because yes, I know that a lot of the general, the base of everything. Yeah. But of course, for me, I prefer learning about the rehab. So I'm going to I'm going to be more interested and inclined in like using that compared to, I don't use the high performance enough to say that I would want to learn as well.
Yeah.
Through the other.
And that's the other bonus, is that by working together, and having people with, different, exceptional skills, we're able to learn from them as well, because we're all working together, which is also really nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so as we're recording this, we're in the middle of a little bit of a lockdown, right? Because this pandemic is not quite over. So how has that affected your own personal training? Because we're not in gyms. I mean, you and I, we have keys, so we have access to our gyms, so we're kind of here, but there's nobody else here. So that's, I'm going to say that right there.
Yeah.
But that means that we have to kind of train on our own at home. So how has that changed for you since this whole?
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. Motivation wise, just like a lot of people, it is a lot harder. Just because, yes, I don't have necessarily all of the equipment. I'm lucky enough to be maybe able to borrow some from this from the gym, but it's still that motivation aspect of working out in that same area that I work, I do school, I cook, I hang out. So yes, that's definitely been hard. I've been trying to do more of that aspect of walking outside, especially now is pretty, well, not today, but now it's pretty nice. So walking outside, just keep moving throughout the day. Having a puppy definitely helps. I'm always getting up, coming back down, and always keeping an eye. So yeah, that's definitely a big thing. But the strength training was going good at the beginning, but now it's kind of relaxed and it's more just keeping active.
Yeah. So let's say next week we're allowed to open. Let's say this is, we get the news, we're allowed to be back in the gyms tomorrow. How does your training change? What are your favorite exercises?
My favorite exercise, I'll definitely biggest thing that compared to before the lockdown, this lockdown, I was training more program wise, more like, let's say, lower body, and then upper body, and then core. But I think I'm going to start going back into like that full body aspect, those big movements that just make you feel good at the end of the day, because they're, for me, strength training wise, I like the lifting heavy. It feels good. And my two biggest exercise, I couldn't pick one because there's reasons behind it. But my first one, I would say, is the hip thrusts. I love them. They're very you're using your biggest muscle and one of your strongest muscles so you can lift heavier. And it always makes me feel really good afterwards.
So why? Okay, so you said that there's a reason for that. So you like the hip thrusters because you can lift heavy, but why is that one important to you?
Because that's hip wise is one of my weakest area, and it always has been. That's why I've had my lower back issues. So lifting that I can engage the core, the glutes, and it helps me. It helps me on my day-to-day life, and it makes me feel pretty good after.
Awesome. So hip thrusters are number one. What's the other one?
The deadlift. So the deadlift is kind of an exercise for me that I say it's my favorite one, but it's not my necessarily go-to. It's kind of confusing. So I've been asked before, like, what if you only could do one exercise for the rest of your life, what would it be? It would be the deadlift, because it's one of the exercise that is the most, how do you call that? Functional.
Yes.
Yeah. So a deadlift, once you know how to do it, you know how to pick up anything from the ground. You know that if something is way too heavy on the ground, you can try and lift it up, and you know that you will feel your form breaking, and that's when you can get injured. So it's definitely if you practice that movement, if you know how to do it, if you can lift, you can pick up anything from the ground. And if you do pick it up, you're doing it safe. If you can't pick it up, to not pick it up. You got to go get a machine.
So in that case, are these exercises that you think that your clients need to do as well in different forms? Obviously, they may not be able to lift, at your level, but do you think that they're valuable for just about any of your clients?
I think they're valuable for any of my clients for sure. Every single clients that come in, if they've never done one, we build towards it. And if they tell me that they're a little nervous about it, I'll be like, look, we're going to try different forms. I'm here for you. I'm going to look at 100% at your form. If you break it for 1 second, I will tell you to lower the weight, or we'll put the weight back down. And even then, we're even starting body weight at that moment. So
Yeah.
yes, it's definitely
there's always a progression, right? So we're not going from 0 to 100. There's that progression.
No, definitely not. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. So I've got a few rapid fire questions that I want to throw at you. Take your time to answer them. But before I do that, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you live in Canada, Lili is also bilingue. So, s'il y a quelqu'un dans l'ouest de la ville qui est nerveux de s'entraîner en anglais, ils peuvent toujours aller te voir et s'entraîner en français, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, exactement.
C'est bien. Je dis toujours ça, mais quand je parlais avec Jules récemment, on se disait, on est capable de se parler en français, mais les termes restent quand même anglais. Un deadlift, c'est un deadlift.
Exactement.
Des glutes, on a tendance à dire des glutes.
Ouais.
Mais au moins, le dialogue, si les gens sont à l'aise, le dialogue peut se faire en français.
Oui, c'est ça, exactement. J'ai pas de problème habituellement. Des fois, si on commence à se parler en anglais, puis là, on décide de changer en français, ça me prend peut-être 2 secondes, là, mais oui, je devrais être correct.
C'est parfait, c'est parfait. J'aime qu'on puisse offrir ces services à Canada, puis aussi à Wellington. All right. We're going to go back to English because that's what you're watching right now. All right. Yeah. So my rapid fire questions. So what is something that you know now that you wish you knew when you first started personal training?
Okay. So something that I wish I knew before starting personal training is that everybody is different. We're never really taught that. You're taught a certain way to do one thing, but you never realize how much that, first of all, everybody's height is different. Everybody's body type is different, their torso versus their legs. So being able to do a squat, like me doing my squat, my form, is not necessarily the way you would do your squat, your form. Just because we're different. So it's definitely, there's a proper way of doing it compared to your body, but it's not like there's no perfect way. There's not one way to do it. There's a bunch of others. And if a squat, also, you don't necessarily need to do a back squat. You know, there's a ton of variation that might work better for you. And it's whatever you're comfortable too with. We're definitely here to help you push your limits a little bit, but we also don't want you to feel extremely uncomfortable that you don't want to come in the next day, right? So that's a big thing that I wish I knew at the beginning, but now I know.
Yeah, so now you know, and now you're applying it. That's beautiful. All right. So now you're meeting someone new. So you have a brand new client. What's the first skill that you like to teach beginners?
Beginners, a couple skills.
Okay.
So, well, the biggest one would be the skill of squeezing your shoulder blades together. We tend to be a little bit weak there. So we definitely want to strengthen that area out. So that's where we get that posture that everybody looks for. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the really important one, to know how to engage those muscles correctly. I also learned that from another trainer, also from Freeform. So I learned that from you guys. And then as well as the hip hinge, that's something like I said, the deadlift is really important. So the hip hinge is the number one thing that I get people to start with the core engagement also. So they kind of go hand in hand together.
Very good. I like that. Okay. And what do you think your most valuable coaching skill is? What do you think that you bring to Canada and to your clients that's really valuable? Other than being bilingual, because, Francophone.
Yeah. Agree. I think that I don't want to say, I don't want to say friendly is the word, but just, I am very down to earth.
Well, maybe what you're saying is you connect well with people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I connect well with people, and I can understand the emotional side of a lot of things. I've been through a lot on that emotional fitness side. I'm still working on it. So it's definitely, and I find that I can relate because I do also personally, I do have a trainer also,
Yeah.
that works at Freeform. So he actually trains me, well, before he trained me a lot during, before the lockdown. And it's helping me a lot on that emotional side and physique side, of course. And I think that I can relate with people whenever something's not going well, and when something's going good.
That's right.
So that's something I think it's very useful.
I think there's the other aspect of, because I like to work with a trainer as well, and I think the big reason for that is, like, everyone that comes to see us, there's no thinking involved. I spend all day thinking for my clients, which I really love. I love, like you, right? See what can we do today, and what can we work on to make you feel better and move better, right? So all day I think. When I go for my own workouts, I really don't want to think. I don't want to count. I don't want to plan. I don't want to think. So in other words, we are exactly like our clients, right?
Yeah.
So if I have an appointment, I know I'm going to show up, right?
Exactly.
Nobody's expecting me, but I just show up with my shoes and my workout gear, and I can just block it all off and just do the best work that I can without having to think about anything. So really, we want what we're giving our clients is what we want for ourselves, because we know it works.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I love that you said the thinking part. That's something that I wanted to mention too, that whenever the really fun thing about having a personal trainer is like you don't need to think at all. Like, let me do the thinking. The only thing I need you to do is show up and just work with me. And from there, we're just going to work together. And my job is to make your life easier here. So don't think, no thinking involved.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that.
A great big thank you to Lili for joining me on this latest edition of the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. If you at home want to know more about Lili and where you can find her, you can certainly find her on Instagram at lili.potvin.pt. And she is setting up a brand new Facebook page, Lili Fitness and Health, that will be set up very shortly. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out all of our past podcasts to get to know more about our fabulous team members. And while you're here, make sure that you like and subscribe. You can even leave comments. We always like responding to those. There's lots of health and fitness content where this came from. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next time.